So, my mother passed away last spring, and she died in her sleep. And I had a couple of hours with her after she died, to be alone with her before the funeral director came. And I sat there with my mom, and I held her hand, and I thought, who's gonna believe me anymore? I thought, my mom, when she dies, all of my history goes too. Like my mom knows so much about me, and she was there for me and with me, and that's gone now. And I can't call my mom and say, hey mom, do you remember when this happened? It did happen, right? And she'd say, yeah, absolutely. And we could talk about it. And my fear was and is that that's gone. And I'll give you a couple examples. When I was a little boy, and I might have been about 4 or 5, my father was working out of town, and he often would take us with him. We'd stay in a hotel. My mother and I were in a hotel room. I wasn't in school yet, so I was probably 4, maybe 5. And I heard all this noise in the hallway. It sounded like violence, like someone being apprehended or pushed up against a wall or a fight, and it sounded like cops. It sounded like someone was really rough out there. And there were these bangs on the door. And I went to the door, and I opened the door. And this police officer says, is your mom there? Or is there an adult there? And I said, yes, my mom's here. And he says, have her close this door, lock it, lock the chain. He said, we've got fugitives on the loose in the hotel. We've got the hotel lobby being taken over by Black Panthers. And this entire hotel is in lockdown. So I close the door and tell my mother, and she puts a chain on the door. And we wait, and there's more noise and sounds and sirens below. And then there's a knock on the door, and this police officer says, you can open your door now. We've apprehended the Black Panthers. So, and my mother was very calm the whole time, put on her makeup like nothing happened. Like she was not scared of the Black Panthers, but I internalized it all. And I used to call my mom and I say, Mom, do you remember when we were held hostage by the Black Panthers? And she would say, yeah, honey, that's true. It did happen. We were in Boston. And I say, nobody believes me, Mom. And she goes, yeah, that was, and we would have this conversation. And years went by, but not many. And I'm a little boy now. I'm like 8 or 9, and I'm obsessed with the Hope Diamond. Don't ask me why. And I learned that it made its way from New York to the Smithsonian in a paper bag because the owner didn't want anyone to know it was the Hope Diamond. And I knew it came from the eye of an Indian woman, and Louis XIV may have worn it in a brooch, and it was the biggest stone from. So my father's working out of town in Washington, and he takes us with him, and my mother promises we can go see the Hope Diamond, and so we go to the museum, and I said, Mom, it's on the 4th floor, and we get in the elevator, and the elevator starts to go up, and it stops, and it doesn't move. And we're the only ones in it. And I panic. And she stays calm. And I say, Mom, what's happening? And then over the PA system in the elevator, it says, attention, the museum will be closing in 10 minutes. But it doesn't move. And the lights go out. And about a half hour later, which seemed like 3 days, the doors open. And we're on the 4th floor. And I see this sign, and it says, the Hope Diamond. And it's in a glass case, and the lights are all out in the museum, but it's glowing, and we go over to the case, and it's beautiful, and it's like tinted blue, and it's big, and it's all my dreams come true. And I'm looking at the Hope Diamond, and we hear, don't move. And my mother and I turn around, and they're armed guards, and they're aiming their guns at us. My mother explains that we got trapped in the elevator, and it's just a boy and his mother, and we're not here to steal the Hope Diamond. So they usher us out these side steps and down these like fire doors, and they open the door, and we go out into a parking lot, like the rear side of the Smithsonian. And I look up, and the moon is full, and I go, Mom, this is like a great day, and the moon is full. And I would say, Mom, do you remember when those armed guards like drew their guns when we were at the Hope Diamond? And she'd say, yeah, how about that? Was really, But I tell that to other people, and they're like, yeah, Quilty, that didn't happen. Okay, this is the last one. when I'm a young teen and I'm with my mom and I'm on the beach. My mother has a beautiful little beach house, a summer house, a little bungalow. And she claims the best time to go to the beach is between 4 and 7 p.m. There's an ocean breeze, people aren't there, the lifeguard goes off duty somewhere around 6. It's quiet. The sun's down, you don't have to worry about getting burned. I'm with my mom and we're enjoying the beach. It's probably like 6:30, quarter to 7. And we think we're alone, but there's a guy down by the shore of the beach, like by the water's edge, and he is in a lawn chair. And I figure he's probably reading or has his feet in the sand. And so my mother's very chatty and likes to say hello to people. So we go down to the beach. We're gonna put our feet in the water before we leave. And he turns around and he looks at us and he smiles. And we're about to say, hey, do you live in this area? And his chair, it starts up like an engine. It sounds like a lawnmower, and it's and then and he's got a backpack with jets on the back, and he and the chair, they go up, they go up, they go up, they go up, and he waves to us, and it's like, and like we're like. And we say hi, we like wave back, and my mother looks at me and I look at her and I'm like, this is fantastic. This guy is like, and he goes up and he goes up and he goes up, he goes up 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet. He goes far up and he starts to go out in the ocean, and he just goes up and up and he disappears. He's gone. He's gone. So I say to my mom, do you remember when we were at the beach and that guy he just flew up in the air and he disappeared, and people are like, that didn't happen. I say, Mom, that happened, right? And that's who I would call. And I remember sitting with my mom, and I thought, I can't call her anymore. And then I had this thought that maybe my mom just flew up in the air and just waved goodbye, and something really incredulous happened. And it was okay.